Welcome to this week's episode of Crypto City. I want to thank my team, Blue Moon, Loudfire, and DJ Marcus J. With everything I do in the metaverse, I'm always reminded of how important the people you surround yourself with in here it is and how much of a difference it makes in making the experiences so much better. So not even just all the work that we do together on various different projects, but even just hanging out, having fun, relaxing, and watching movies, playing games, anything. So I am very grateful to all of you for being part of the team here and for being my friends in here. And I also want to thank our sponsors, also DJ Marcus J, Kip VR, Fuchsia in the Virtual Fitness Group, Cybershay, Venue GPS, The Diamond Resilience, Tinker Love 1980 from Zen Royals and Sisters for Sisters, and 2ndLifeRich from Hume AI Club and Lux VR, who will actually be joining us on stage with our guest panel in a few minutes. So I'm super grateful to all of these members of the community who support this show, our team's work, and my vision. Thank you all so much for, believing in what we do and wanting to help the community learn more and grow as a whole. So tomorrow is April 1st, and not only is this year flying by, but I also wanted to share with all of you that we'll actually be having a community event tomorrow over in Horizon Worlds for my nonprofit, Kyle's Legacy. This is an awareness event for canine cancer, and we'll be having a comedian, Jay Bags, and two special guest performers who are part of my VR family, Anadi and Kawan Kimpachi. This event is open to the community at no charge, so please come by and be entertained and learn a little bit about the Starlight program, which offers financial aid to qualified families in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So this leads me into my first little news piece tonight. Researchers have just introduced a new AI system that's making waves in cancer detection, and it's outperforming doctors by a significant margin. This was in the news just this week, that AI can identify endometrial cancer with an impressive 99.26% accuracy from the tissue images, while human specialists are typically only reach about 78 to 81% accuracy. Now, of course, 78 to 81% is great, but if it was me, 99% is a lot better. So that's pretty impressive. And what makes this AI stand out is its ability to spot the cancer cells that doctors often miss during a standard exam. And it's not just limited to endometrial cancer. When they tested on other types of cancers, it showed incredible results, 98.57% accuracy for colorectal cancer and 98.2% for breast cancer and 97.34% for oral cancer. This breakthrough is a huge shift in the way that medical diagnostics works. Not only is AI matching human abilities, but it's consistently surpassing them, especially in these life-saving areas like cancer detection. Early detection is the key for treating many, many cancers. So this could have a massive impact on survival rates all the way around. If most of you might not be aware, but there's a thing called comparative oncology, where they take the testing and the research that they do on humans and animals, and they cross-compare them to find better treatments and cures. So if AI is doing this for humans, it's going to be able to do it for animals. We might be able to find better cures all the way around. So the big win here isn't just about the accuracy, it's about the accessibility. The technology has the potential to bring top-tier cancer screenings to places where specialized oncologists are scarce or where healthcare infrastructure is lacking. In a lot of countries, they don't necessarily have the doctors we have in America and in Europe. So this could make a huge difference in countries that struggle with these doctor shortages. And what's really exciting is that we're at the beginning of a revolution in medicine where AI and doctors can actually work together. Doctors will embrace these new routes and be able to offer better care with these tools and leading to much better outcomes for patients all the way around. And speaking of AI in the news in a completely different topic, last week, H&M, the clothing store, announced plans to create the AI twins for 30 of its models using digital versions of the actual models for future marketing campaigns. This move has raised some concerns, and there's been a lot of controversy about it in the fashion industry, with many worried that AI will replace the human models, especially those at the beginning of their careers. While AI has already been used to help design new collections or manage supply chains, replacing real models with digital versions feels like a major shift, especially since these AI models can work in multiple campaigns at once without the need for rest or travel, cutting major overhead also. Though some see the AI tool as a boost to diversity and make fashion more inclusive, there are concerns about its impact on job security for models, and high-profile models may get paid well for their AI twins, but emerging talent could be left behind. The use of the AI also raises concerns about fair compensation and how it will affect other creatives like photographers, makeup artists, and stylists, because all of those different careers are going to be affected by this. So models might be okay with the digital versions themselves being used, but over time, AI could kind of make their jobs irrelevant. And as technology improves, it's clear that the future of modeling could change dramatically. There's still a lot of uncertainty about how the industry will adapt, but one thing's for sure, AI will play a growing role in how fashion marketing works, for better or worse. AI is going to be playing a role in everything very soon. So, I mean, that's just all super interesting. And honestly, we are seeing more and more of this coming up in the news. A few years ago, I was saying, AI, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be great. And you hardly heard it anywhere. Now I'm still saying AI is great, and it's everywhere now. It's in the news. It's in all different industries. So let's keep watching, see where this takes us. But all right, let's get back to tonight's guests. So I'm so excited to bring them out. Please welcome Sabrina from CRIISC, 2ndLifeRich, and Brown Diamond. Please join us on the stage. Welcome, Brown Diamond.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Hi. Greetings, everyone. Hey.
Everyone, feel free to grab a seat. Thank you all for coming
actually,
out here.
Sabrina, you sit on this side. How about you sit on that side? Yeah.
Perfect.
Still learning, y'all. So give me a second.
No, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. It's up top. There you go. Perfect. So, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate you guys coming in here.
No, we're so grateful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you.
I want to give the audience a little bit of an intro as to how we met and why we're here. Back in February, it was Black History Month, and there was an amazing display that 2ndLifeRich, Brown Diamond, and Sabrina worked on collaboratively over in Horizon Worlds. And a lot of us got to go through there. They took us on a tour, and I'm going to let Sabrina talk a little bit more about that. But the world is still over in Horizon Worlds. So after we're done with the show here tonight, I invite all of you to please go over and check it out if you haven't already been there, because it's absolutely amazing. So let's start. Sabrina, so let's talk a little bit about your IRL work and what you're doing with CRIISC.
Awesome. So my name is Sabrina Gonzalez, and I'm the Executive Director with the Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California. And we call it CRIISC for short because it's such a long name. And so we are, we're really an exhibition center, and our whole mission is to continue to uplift and lift up both the historic and ongoing civil rights stories of our region, foster community advocacy, and champion, our future leaders. And so when the space was built, and we're a fairly new space, the concept was that we needed to make sure that we were telling the stories from our region. And those stories are very rich in civil rights. And so our first exhibit was called Still I Rise, the Black IE Fight for Justice. And IE is Inland Empire, so Southern California. And when we put that up, it was so well received by the community and folks that were coming in that the co-founders of the organization, Rose Mays and Lali Acharya, they were really kind of nervous about what happens when we take it off the walls, right? The IRL is great. It's beautiful. We had over 10,000 visitors in our first year.
Wow.
But then what do you do with this important stories, right? Because we can't continue to grow and evolve if we don't know our history and we don't know, what's going on. So I think when they came to me, they were like, we want to keep this up forever, which we can't do in this space. It's supposed to rotate. And so I said, okay, I don't know what that's going to look like. I am not tech forward. I'm, barely learning the set, and I appreciate Brown Diamond and Second Life Rich for helping me with that. But I was like, I'll raise the money. So we worked with the Gates Foundation, and we were able to raise $25,000.
Wow.
And that's to get us to do more than one of these, right? Like at first we didn't think we'd have funding, and we were so grateful for Second Life Rich and Brown Diamonds to say they were going to jump in on this project. And so then it started learning from there. But that's really what, the big goal was, is turn our in real life items into virtual worlds.
Okay. So, Second Life Rich and Brown Diamond, you find out about this project, and, you're obviously, it would be such an exciting project to work on. But, what was your initial, how did you come to hear about it and find out that they wanted to do this in real life? I mean, from in real life in VR.
Well, actually, it came out to be such a wonderful idea when we found out, hey, this exhibit will come down. And it's like, how do we preserve it so that it can be somewhere always? And that also anybody, doesn't matter where they're located at, can be able to come and visit it. So, I mean, the vision kind of started that way. Let's preserve this so that everybody can be able to see this.
Yeah. And we actually came in contact with Sabrina through someone else that we've done some work for, Paulette Brown Hines, with the Footsteps to Freedom project. I'm pretty sure some of you have seen some of the posts that I've made, the Frederick Douglass Talman building, and some of the other worlds. And so after recreating some of those locations, that's what kind of gave her the idea to put us in contact, because I think she kind of knew about what Sabrina's goals were, and kind of figured we would be a good fit to align. Yeah.
And she was definitely that medium to get us in contact with the right folks. It was like, you have these big ideas, but you don't know the world in VR. And so immediately, as soon as we jumped on a call with Second Life Rich and Brown Diamond, we just knew they were the perfect fit for it. And so we're just grateful that they took the job on for us.
Now, was this your first visit into virtual reality, or had you been in virtual reality in the past?
So I feel like I had put a set on once before, and it was really to do nothing but, look at maybe something that was moving quickly, or I would say more like a video through VR. But it was my first time really. And I think I didn't really understand. I had a lot of questions about the integrity of the project. And so I was so grateful that it really is, it feels just like you're in the real life space. And that was beautiful for us, because that's a part of, there's trust in these communities, particularly the Black community, right? You're asking them to come in, or asking them to venture into something that's maybe not the norm. And so then to say, we have solid folks that are doing the work, they want to present it well, and they're going to do right by it, then it made it such an easy sell for others. And then we've been able to build more from that. So this is just one of many projects that we hope to work with Second Life Rich and Brown Diamond on.
That's amazing. So let me ask you, you've got this incredible project, and you're, going to translate it into essentially, something that looks like, to the outside world, a video game. But
Yes.
that there's a lot of importance in this project, and so you want to uphold the integrity, like you said. So as it's being built, was there a lot of collaboration back and forth with you guys, saying, okay, but in the real one, we've got this. This part is very important. We need to make sure this particular display and everything. I mean, was there a lot of collaboration with your organization as well as with you and Second Life Rich and Brown Diamond?
Yeah, honestly, from the very beginning, we said, we think we have some photos. Can you use this? There was a lot of where we would pass things off and say, is this usable? How does this work? What's going on? And then I'll let you take on the bit of piece. But they were so wonderful. All the check-ins, the video clips, it was a beautiful experience for us. But I'll let you jump in on a little bit more on we didn't know what to give to get it going.
Well, so when we first started the project, we started with Sabrina sending over a virtual tour along with some pictures. And so we, just kind of looking through things, and there was, and we were going to actually start the project with just that. But then we decided to actually travel down and show up on site. Sabrina gave us a tour, gave us the first tour, and that's where we saw so many different angles, so many different things that just weren't in the virtual tour or any of the pictures, like the Walk of Fame, the donor tiles, and all of that. So none of that stuff was available in the virtual tours or any of in the pictures. So if we wouldn't had gone down, we would have never been able to recreate any of that stuff. Maybe we would have never even discussed it. We would have just only stayed focused on the exhibition. So by going down and we actually got to see everything and hear Sabrina's story about everything and kind of take in the history and understand the purpose, and all of that was instrumental in our being able to focus and rebuild everything.
Yeah, I think it really brought it to life. And I think that was part of the learning piece for us was, what do we hand off? What were the important pieces? And then when you came down and we started just talking, you were like, oh, wait, tell me more about that. Oh, wait, I'm going to go snap some photos of that. Or wait. And I think that was like the beauty of the connection of like really merging those worlds. And it was very eye-opening for me to talk about how you can really take an IRL into the VR and do it so well. And I think that's part of just not knowing. And so it was a very, very intriguing experience for me.
That's great. So let me ask you a question. We saw the project up on the wall here, and we saw not only did you have just the gallery that people walk through, but you kind of replicated the entire city block, which was really cool. You had the Bank of America building, you had like all the different buildings in there, the library and stuff. So, in Horizon Worlds, sometimes the building is a little different than over here. You're not using the same technology and stuff. But Rich, you've built in both platforms and done it extremely well. So, it's great to see that, you took a technology that's a little bit different over in Horizon and actually made it look very, very much like the original. I mean, that when you walked through there, you forgot for a minute you were in Horizon because it actually looked very much like the photos from the real one. So
Agreed.
I was very impressed with that. Let's talk a little bit about like the timing and the purpose of this project as well. So you did it during Black History Month, which obviously that was the display was all about history. So tell us what this means like to the community in real life. And then let's talk about what it meant to the community here in VR, because there was an awful lot of people building worlds with a lot of purpose. And there were goals, for building these worlds, not just for the community and especially the Black community to come together in an area, but for me, it was extremely educational. I thought it was wonderful that people could go and learn about things that they may not really have this knowledge of. So, I learned an awful lot going to both this display and also many of the other worlds that were put out there back in February. And I'm grateful that they're staying out there. I think it's good that people go and learn in these venues. So give me Sabrina, we'll start with you. In real life, what was the community feel? How did everybody receive it? I know they loved it, but what was the emotion behind it?
Well, I felt like so many people felt seen. And that was the beauty of it, was to say, one, typically there aren't full-blown exhibits dedicated to these groups and their stories. We had life-size, where you see in the exhibit, like life-size photos of folks. We had stories and we broke it down. And so I think people felt very seen, and they felt like this was their way to continue to tell their stories and for folks to keep connecting. So with those over 10,000 visitors in our first year, one event that we had was our closing celebration, and it was jam-packed, but it was for people to ask, like, what's next? And we were able to, they were able to provide us with a promo video to say, we will be launching a world soon, and this is going to go on. And so I think for folks, it was a reminder that there was a little more trust to put into the arts and culture community too, that when we say we were going to do this, we didn't know how we were going to do it. We didn't know what it looked like, but we found the right folks to do it and that we're going to keep. So I think that was like this big sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to the we matter, we're being seen, and then how do we make sure that this stays seen, which is what's happened here with putting in the VR world. And we're getting all folks from all different kinds. We have really young, we have the elders that are like, okay, let me, pop in and check this out. And so it's been really cool to see that connection.
I love that. And then Rich and Brown Diamond, so how did the VR community, how did you feel the response was?
Well, I personally feel the response was great. This particular exhibition, the Still I Rise exhibit, that was the first one we had done. And so that one, we did that one actually a year ago, and it's been up in Spatial. And so, and people, have been able to visit it there. But I wanted to bring it into Horizon Worlds. I thought it would be special there for Black History Month. And so I reached out to Sabrina to ask it, her permission if she would be cool with doing that, and if she would be willing to do some tours, and she was willing to do it. And so, but one of the things I wanted to capture for the Horizon Worlds community is kind of what I was able to see a little piece of while me and Brown Diamond were down there taking the pictures and everything. So each time we've gone down there, and I think that even a couple of times it's been they've been closed, but they'll see that people are in there and they'll come to the door. But people will come down just to go through the exhibits and talk to Sabrina and other people. And, we'll be doing our work, but you can't help but overhear some of the conversations and things like that. And so I could just tell that that they are an impactful resource for people in the local area. And so I just imagine that bringing that to the metaverse would touch people as well and educate as well. And so I was just happy that she was willing to collaborate on the project, and here we are.
Yeah, and I was so happy that you took it to the next level. I think Spatial is the first level of it, going into the Horizon World, but also just giving people different platforms to now know VR chat, being here in cryptos. I think this is the same thing that happens in our region, is it's about the partnerships, and for folks to see that the collaborations don't just end in IRL is huge for us, right? We keep connecting. What do we build from here? 2ndLifeRich and Brown Diamond. Now you guys are on our fourth exhibition that you're building out, right?
Yep.
Wow. And some of that money,
we're finishing up. It's almost finished.
Yeah, so Homegrown Heroes is coming out,
of that.
and those bits and pieces. But some of that money, people forget. The money that we raised had to go to the overhead to pay the staff, but the website and different bits and pieces. And there was a lot of just conversation. Now we're able to say, okay, now we know what this looks like. What can we build from it? Because they gave us a really, really good just deal on our very first exhibit. And then I've gone above and beyond with it. And I think that's the piece that shows the community, the investment. Who are you working with, right? All those, the same thing we do in the real life stuff we're doing in this virtual world. And so I'm just really grateful that we've crossed paths and that we're continuing to build. And they're helping me every day learn a little bit more. And we're now running, we're hoping to get some more headsets and have folks, check it out on their own and also expand into this world a little bit more.
So down in CRIISC, do you actually have headsets there for people to put on when they come in and try it out? Or are you basically telling people, go check this out?
So right now it's go check this out. But we're working to raise a little bit more funds and also get our setup is really small. The exhibition size is great, but you saw when you had a virtual tour of 30, it gets pretty crammed in there, and that's how it happens in IRL. And so our media center is it's a meeting room. It's a station where folks have done recordings. It's a video. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do it. But I think what we'll probably end up doing is purchasing a couple more sets. And I'm hoping this June we can do that. And it's not guaranteed yet, but a Juneteenth celebration where we will then allow folks to put on the headsets and try it out. and then maybe stream it so folks that maybe don't have the headset or aren't willing to see it from a headset view, because people have their own, thoughts about, what that looks like. And so we're not quite there yet, but the goal is to build out to that so that we can continue to extend who gets to see it and who gets to start dabbling in the VR, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. And so part of it is learning that bit too, getting people to take a few risks. And because you'll know when I first came in, remember how many times I was like, I'm going to be so bad at this. And now they're like, hey, you know how to sit on your own.
Now she's a pro. You get it really she's got it now. She's a pro now.
Right?
She's a pro, yeah. Sabrina learns quick. She learns everything super quick.
I love that.
I appreciate that.
And I went to your tour, and you were very smooth. You weren't stumbling or anything. You were navigating perfectly, and you were very, pleasant to listen to, because you went through and you told the story exactly as you would in real life, and you walked us through, and you showed us the displays, told us the history, moved on to the next one. I felt like I was in a museum walking through with a guide. It was perfect. Thank you.
Could you imagine having to learn all of that history to be able to do that, to be able to walk through confidently talking about each of those exhibition panels and all of those artifacts and everything in detail like that? I think it's amazing. She has to learn that for each one of their exhibitions. It's crazy.
We have a lot of information you need to know.
It's very true. What bringing to that point, Rich, which is really important to me, is imagine learning all of that, and then when you move on to the next one, you forget it. So it's now really cool. It's now very special that it's in this VR world, and people can call up and we can keep having the conversation, because I think that goes to all of our history, especially with what's happening. You just see where, and it's not because people don't want to learn it. It's just there's so many new things to learn. So to be able to have it up forever and keep bringing people into it, and people are going to stumble on it is very exciting for me. Is that and learning
people can continuously visit at any point, at any time.
Exactly.
Right? Because most of the time that exhibits are up for a certain time.
Yeah, and the community doesn't get a chance to see it. Exactly.
Yes. So at this point, anybody can come see it.
So anyone can pop in. So remember, after this, go over there and check it out. So let's talk about the power of immersive education, because you have, like you said, you've now made something that anyone can visit. But what's bigger than that is the fact that this project is in Southern California. I'm in the East Coast. There's people here from Europe. There's people here from Canada. There's people here from, all parts of the world. You've got, South America, Africa, everywhere is here. So now everyone gets a chance to check this out.
To share in that history.
It's a project that nobody would have seen outside your region. And now the whole world can see it. So it's pretty powerful. And what are you, with the other projects that you're going to have going on in here and everything, you can now market these things to the world and have anyone anywhere jump in if they have a headset, or they can get onto, whether it's on their mobile or, on their laptop, to go in and check it out.
Absolutely. It extends our reach, which is huge for us. We are a region that has a very, very rich civil rights history, and a lot of folks don't know that. So to extend that out, which is beautiful, and also give opportunity for folks to give us insights or input, or, there's some stories that extend. We say, most of the stories have a regional impact, but they do extend internationally. And so for folks to be able to come in and have those conversations, it's really powerful. And it just shows the importance of these conversations. It also gets folks in our region that maybe they come check out. Now we tell them about the VR, and they're going to come see your stuff on the East Coast, and they're going to see stuff. So it's like this mutual and reciprocal learning, which is so critical, because the space really is dedicated to highlighting what's happening in the region. And with that, you have to engage in what's happening outside of it to make sure that you're telling honest stories, but you're also just seeing folks and meeting them where they're at. And something that's really exciting when you talk about this immersive learning is we just received a grant from our county supervisors, and it's a community improvement grant. And so we're receiving $70,000 to be able to build. Thank you.
That's
ethnic
amazing.
studies curriculum. I don't even think I had told you guys yet, but ethnic studies
That's
curriculum.
amazing.
So now we're going to build curriculum around these virtual worlds. So they can come in and they can see, but they can build out these stories. So hopefully the goal is the students will take a field trip and come see the exhibition, whatever one is live that time. But they'll see these virtual worlds and we'll build curriculum around them so they will live on. And we will also kind of meet folks where they're at. Technologies, what young people are dealing with. Let's keep giving them opportunities to invest in it. So we're very excited about that.
That is really great.
Congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, California is now doing ethnic studies. And so we want to be able to be a part of that to keep telling those stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
was just going to say, you've built this, Rich. You sat there, took the time going through everything to make sure it was perfect. Do you feel that this is something that can be replicated across pretty much any outside platform, whether it's a museum, an educational facility? Even we know that they're using VR right now and AI to go in and learn how to, fly planes, how to do medical procedures. But this is something a little bit more poignant, where, you've actually got something where people can spend time, sit there, reflect, and do that. Maybe there's other education and other services that could be brought into here that you could replicate and make it just as good. Even a science museum, something along those lines.
Definitely. Well, actually, Brown Diamond had brought up, after we had, so first with the project with Paulette, that project put us in alignment with having to do a lot of historic research and building things based on pictures and other research that we found. And then after that, with Sabrina's institution, it gave Brown Diamond the idea, like, hey, this is something that pretty much any institution that deals in history could benefit from, basically.
Yes, that would absolutely have that opportunity to be able to take their exposition or what's going on in their location that's in real life and bring that here so that everybody can have an opportunity to see it.
Yeah. So we began kind of observing how we can kind of make that into a niche that we kind of focus on. And actually, we had been in negotiation with another museum that was in Houston. And we had actually done a little bit of a project with them. But what happened is, here recently, with all of the Doge activity, they've had to kind of put a pause on things until they figure out what's going on with all of that. But we think that because, like with Brown Diamond, she's got a really fine eye for detail. She likes to compare and make sure things are accurate. And we think that working together, we can kind of serve that niche of bringing history, digitizing history, and making it available in virtual worlds so that people can experience in the way similar to how we're doing with them. So that's something that we're going to pursue.
Because we see the potential and the opportunity.
And we tell anybody that will listen how great they are, so that there are exhibit spaces that are picking them up, right?
Yeah. So I'm actually doing research into equipment that we can invest in to help the digitization process go even faster. And so it's definitely a niche that we're gonna kind of pursue.
So let me throw this out there as a little wild card and maybe a little challenge for you in the future with your projects. What do you think about having, AI-driven NPCs in the worlds that are actually historical figures that might be some of these people on your walls. And you could have somebody there from history speaking to the crowd, explaining their story.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. That would be cool. Now in Horizon Worlds, it wouldn't be able to be an NPC that had the likeness of someone, but in VR chat or in
VR
spatial,
chat, yeah,
we could definitely do something like that. That would be cool. Yeah.
Just throwing that out there if anybody has anything they think might be a good fit. So I think that would be really cool, though, to come in and listen to somebody, looking just like your avatar, talking, saying all the things.
Right.
I mean, they're doing it in games. There's no reason why they can't do it for something, educational versus gamification.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that's the beauty about these platforms, is that the sky is the limit. We just have to have the idea and then figure out how to do it. But yeah, it's the sky is the limit with the possibilities.
Now, with these other projects that you're working on, you said you've got about 4 other projects that are going on right now. Will those all become, like, for example, will you have the main world and a bunch of hubs and you can go into all the other worlds through portals? So they're all are they all actually not related?
Well, so the way it is right now is on their website is how so with spatial, you can actually embed the worlds into your webpage. So they've got on their website on the page for each of the exhibitions, there is a visit the virtual world button that then takes you to a page where it's embedded. So their website is kind of like the hub for the spatial worlds, but that would be a really good idea to kind of have like a hub virtual world that then had doors to all the different exhibitions. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because they are very different. So our first one was Still I Rise, the Black Eye Fight for Justice. The second one was a photography collection, Working Coachella, and it told the story of farm workers.
Oh, cool.
And then we had a third one, San Bernardino Photography Now, which is one of the counties right by us. And it was about 23, I think 22 of the 23 were BIPOC photographers and artists, and they were telling the story of their city from their perspective, because it is a city that has gone through bankruptcy and is deemed, and when you see and read about it in the newspaper, it's not the story of those that are local to it. And so there was beauty and story to that. And then our current exhibit, which they're working on right now, is called Homegrown Heroes. And that exhibit tells 25 stories of 27 individuals in various components around civil rights. So each one is built from the region, but the topic is depending, and we're hoping that we'll get a couple grants and we'll work on an exhibit on Chinatowns and what that looks like. And that will have a lot more like 3D renderings and those bits and pieces. So we want to keep advancing them while also telling different stories from the region. But we want to also ensure that just because we're telling a new story doesn't mean that we lose the old stories, right? There's of this
absolutely
throughway that even Still I Rise, and we did mapping in there, which is really cool. And you can work through like the different components of the blackest city in the region and things like that. Those pieces still tie into our upcoming ones. You may see labor items that impacted Black individuals that are in our next exhibit, which is on the Korean settlements, right? So Pachapa Camp. So there's bits and pieces, and the virtual worlds allow us for people to keep seeing them. Today is Cesar Chavez Day. And so folks are going to our website to check out the Working Coachella because it was telling the story of farm workers. So like those concepts of keeping people kind of connected and as a resource.
Very cool. So let me ask you, Rich, if somebody might be out here in our audience, whether it's here in the studio or watching on YouTube, if somebody has a project similar in nature and wants to bring it in here, before they reach out to you, what should they be gathering together before they come to the table to say, hey, this is the project, this is what we want to do? How do they preserve that integrity by getting you certain items? What do you need? Sure.
Well, so the thing is that we can now, so to build, we'll need some really high quality pictures and videos. And so I like if they have the budget for it, then like we will just show up and do all of the capture ourselves. And so that's what we would recommend. That way we capture everything the way we need to capture it. But at minimum, just, pictures of the space in as much detail as possible so that we can just kind of map everything out and begin our process of recreating what we see.
Okay. Well, Sabrina, I'm going to throw it over to you. What are your future plans, both personally with CRIISC, and then also do you have bigger plans for maybe yourself here in VR? Think something you might want to do that's, separate for just you.
I appreciate that. So I think for the Civil Rights Institute, the biggest plan is to continue to get exposure, continue to extend our reach, and for folks to see these stories. And we have quite a few exhibitions coming up. And so we hope that people continue to look at these VR worlds after, just not just in the month, right? Black excellence should be celebrated year round. So please check it out at all times and not just, during Black History Month, which goes for the other ones as well. And I think personally, I was telling them, I want to learn more and I would like to do more tours in the world or maybe record, because I think that sometimes we take for granted that we have these abilities to learn, and I'd like to put it to you. So I really hope to maybe not be in as much as others, because I know my IRL stuff takes up most of my time, but I'd like to see myself in this world more, connect with folks, and keep expanding the knowledge around the VR. So thank you.
I'm glad that you've come in to hang out with us and to get to learn it a little bit, and that you embraced the technology for your very important project. And now you're actually embracing moving forward with it as well. So I love to hear that. And like you said, when you first came in, you were a little tentative. You didn't know.
Absolutely.
But you're doing great now. So welcome to the
great teachers. Great teachers.
I imagine one day in the future where they will be hopping in and out. They'll be doing tours in IRL, but they'll be hopping in, doing tours in the virtual worlds, and there'll be people scheduled and staff members will be sitting in there with headsets, and it'll be maybe not as important as the IRL side of things, but it will serve as an important aspect of what they offer to to community. And so that's that's
especially our young folks Sabrina with this saying, money in the world.
Like Sabrina was saying, that just to be able to just extend that reach.
Yes, and it's endless.
Keep telling those stories.
Nothing. Yep. You've got nothing in here that will, restrain you. So it's just limitless to your imagination. So work with that.
Definitely.
So let's ask, we're going to wrap up here, but how can people support CRIISC and similar projects like that you guys are doing both in here and at home? I mean, we've put all of your Instagram accounts up there. But so if they go to your IG, can they reach out to you directly to find out how to connect and support your projects?
Yes. And our IG is actually Inland Civ Rights. The civil, we couldn't make it, but it is Inland Civ Rights. So CIV Rights. And yes, please reach out. I think the biggest thing that you can do in both IRL and VR is show up. I'm so grateful that you're here today to listen to us, show up to the world. If you have an opportunity and you live close enough in Southern California or you're going to come visit, show up. That's important. If you have the ability to spread the news, tell other folks, tell a friend. That's really big on us. I tell us a tour is 2 or more folks. We'll build that out for everyone. And then, obviously, any shares, likes, that exposure is important, and as well as donations if anybody has the ability and ideas. We're always open to it. So, but at Inland Civ Rights is our Instagram, and we will be able and excited to connect with you on that.
We will fix it before it goes up on Discord, and we'll make sure to put a disclaimer in YouTube when it's on the video. So and they'll hear what you said as well. So we'll correct that. But yeah, no, I'm glad that you were here today to share this story and tell people how cool it can be to create here in the metaverse for something actually really important. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad we met in a tour and then you invited. It's a very great setup and just very exciting. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So once again, if everyone, if you haven't been to, I know I see a lot of you in the audience who have been already, but if you haven't been to it, please jump over into Horizon at some point and check it out. It's amazing. If you don't remember the name of it, all you have to do is search for Second Life Rich and look at the worlds he's created and it will take you right to it. That's how I got in there. And, it's definitely worth taking the time to go through, read the signage on the walls, pay attention to the displays. It's more than just a display. It's very educational. It's very emotional as well. So thank you all for being here with us. And next week, we will be having Ice Cold Stacks is going to be coming on to talk to us and talk about the work that she's doing here in the metaverse. A lot of you know that she's got some worlds that she's doing. She's got some great projects out there. She's got casino. She's got a bunch of different things that we're going to talk about next week. So we will see you next Monday night, 9 p.m. here in VRC. And thank you once again. Appreciate you all being here.
Thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And we are off. Now you can jump off the couch.